Good afternoon, everybody. Let me adjust this ever so slightly. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I'm just fiddling with a couple more patterns, just fiddling with patterns. The story of my life, pretty much. So this week is probably going to be shorter, a little bit. Hi, Olivia. How are you? I think this is going to be a shorter video this week, only because when I actually got into the patterns, there were a lot less than like last week. But remember last week, I did like almost the entire 70s and 80s, right? It was like, because she really, she loves simplicity. So anyway, I'm doing well. And hello to Brandy. Hi, Brandy. I'm doing well. Let me really quickly, by the way, I'm not sponsored or anything, but let me tell you, I have done a little bit of Walmart shopping, which I don't normally do. And I bought dresses because my goal in the middle of the winter was, I'm going to make myself some summer dresses because it's going to be hot. I'll wear dresses around the house on Friday. We know what happened. Yeah. And the sewing machine's actually still in the shop. So I still have a chance to maybe make a summer dress while it's still technically summer. But anyway, I went to Walmart. Let me show you this cute little dress. This dress, you could kind of see it in my video for Goodwill Tuesday. It is just like, what would we call this? I'd call this like a popover dress. It's kind of a tank dress, but you can see how I don't love this so much. Like I'm not, and by the way, Olivia, cheap, like all of these were on clearance for like $8 and $10 at Walmart. And I was like, this was before 4th of July. So like, we just started July. We're not done with summer, but they were putting out school stuff. I know, don't get me started. Anyway, I don't like, can you see how the bra strap, it's that weird cut, but it's basically like a 3-tiered kind of tank dress, t-shirt dress, I guess you could call it. It is very comfortable. It's kind of a mini dress. It may be it might actually be like a bathing suit cover up, but for wearing around the house, this one I will reserve as a house dress. And I have about 4 more dresses. So I think for the next couple of weeks, I'll try and wear a dress, show you guys the dresses. Again, I'm not sponsored by Walmart. They were not given to me for free, but they were on clearance. So again, with the tepid coffee, I didn't make it and give it enough time to really like cool down so that I could have an actual iced coffee. But all right, so before we get into children's patterns, let's very quickly, I'm going to show you the patterns I got when I went, you guys saw the bonus haul when I went back to Goodwill on Friday. Again, without just going to Goodwill on a whim, cost me $20 every time I walk in that door. I did get some patterns. You guys saw I got some, there was a whole bag of those kits that I showed you guys in the video. They were just in a bag. It was really strange because it was like, Goodwill's so weird about how they price things, because right next to that bag was another kit, but it wasn't in the bag, and they wanted $5.99 for that kit. And it's like, all right, I can buy this whole bag that's got like 5 kits in it for $9.99. Why would I buy this? It's very weird the way they do the pricing, but you saw the kits. That Bucilla kit is really cool. I meant to flip them over. I don't know why I didn't in the video, but the Bucilla kit has everything in it, all the yarn. It even has a needle shoved into the Ada, and there's 2 of those scarves that have the pre-printed needlepoint so that you can do whatever kind of needlepoint embroidery you want to do on them. One's in color and one's not, but they're the same style. It's called like Rose or something. It was very odd. And then the other one that was just that cute little one with the bird. That one kit is from England. It's made in England, because I've never heard of Jane Rainbow. I looked her up and I couldn't find her on Etsy at all. Everything just came up as, rainbows. So, but I just priced it appropriately, That one is very cool. That one's a higher end one, definitely. It's pre-printed, but it's linen. Hello, Evangelina. Oh, you're in Puerto Rico? Do you live in Puerto Rico? I used to live in Puerto Rico. I used to live in Vieques, or on Vieques, because, it's an island. I don't know. In Vieques, on Vieques. I miss it all the time. I really do. Anyway, that needlepoint, it was linen, pre-printed linen, actual 100% linen, wool yarn, and 100% cotton yarn. So that was like a really high-end kit. So I may have underpriced it, but I just want to get rid of it. So, and then there were the patterns. Now I'm going to go backwards. This pattern's cut. There were 2 of them in there. The other envelope was so destroyed, it was ridiculous. And the other one, they had altered the pants, in that permanent alteration thing where they had cut it in half and then put a big piece of like paper between the 2. And it was just so banged up that I'm not going to be able to sell it. So I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but I put those up online. That one, the only thing that was cut out of it, if you look in the back, you can see it has booties. The only thing cut out of this was the booties. This is a 90s pattern from the 90s. And then we had this. This was cut, but isn't it cute? And it was only partially cut. This entire view right here was cut, but the pieces for the dress are completely uncut and still in there. So I was pretty happy about that. But perfect summer pattern, huh? I was like, perfect time to find this pattern, in the summer. And then these were the other ones. This is, I think it's either this pattern or something very similar. I have bought and sold this pattern. It's just really cute 90s dress. Tie straps at the top. You can do it in 2 lengths, and it's got a little halfy crop top. This will sell very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if I go and look and it's, in somebody's cart already. And then there was this. This is another one. I feel like I have bought this one and sold it. I'm thinking from the home economics teacher. I think this was a pattern that she had in, or if it's not this one, it's something really similar with this kind of like, make different styles of the same maxi dress. They got the high-low, we got the shorter one, we got the longer, the maxi, we have a really like a short one, a really mini. I'm pretty sure that I have already done that. So, all right. So before we get into the patterns, I must say, I cannot believe how cliched people are. I posted that video of the feral kittens. It's got like, as of last night, it had like 150 views. It had more views than either of my Goodwill videos. And I was laughing because, people always joke about like the internet is just full of cat videos. It's just, pictures of cats, right? Those are the kittens that were born this spring. I'll give you just the abridged version of the story. When I first moved into this apartment complex, there was this cat who I refer to as Mummy. Very Puerto Rican, by the way, Mommy, because I learned that in Puerto Rico, Mommy. And she was hanging around. My neighbor had been feeding her, here and there. My neighbor has an indoor cat. And my neighbor was pretty convinced that somebody used to own her because she was kind of friendly. Back then, she was kind of friendly. We're talking 4 years ago. But she was really emaciated. So me being who I am, I put out kibble for her, and I put out a little bowl of water for her. Well, she had kittens. She had 2, gray one, orange one. So we got Mommy. We have Lady Gray, who I call Lady G. Sometimes I call her Miss G. She's got a little bit of an attitude. She's beautiful. She's got a little like white mustache here. It's hysterical. And Pumpkin, her other daughter, they're both girls because they both had kittens since. Her other daughter, Pumpkin, who I called Pumpkin Spice and started to call her Pumpkin for short. She is the most beautiful color of orange. She's this absolutely beautiful orange cat. She doesn't hang out as much. I think I saw her way up at this house that's like a block, more than a block from me, probably a half mile. And I think that she figured out that woman would feed her if she looked cute, because I saw her on the lawn. I was like, that's Pumpkin. And so she's being fed. So I'm happy about that. Then they each had, I think they each had 2. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think they each had 2. So Pumpkin had Pumpkin Spice Latte, her son, because he's the same color, except he's got all of this white, like a latte, right? And Spooky, who was unfortunately disappeared. He was black with beautiful, like amber eyes. And then the other one had a cat that I refer to as Patches, and a cat that I refer to as Tiger. Tiger is only got a little bit of tiger stripe, and he's got a lot of white. So now Mama just had another 3 kittens. Everybody else was pregnant this spring, but I haven't seen any kittens, and I have a feeling, unfortunately, that Patches, that her kittens were lost. So I don't know what happened to her, but I kind of found a little bit of what I think was her blood on my porch, and I think that she had a bad birth. She's very tiny, and I don't think she could really carry, which makes me so sad. Now, somebody apparently, I've been reaching out to trapping organizations to get them trapped and neutered, what they call TNR, trap, neuter, release. Somebody grabbed Lady Gray, which doesn't surprise me because she's the friendliest out of all of them. She'll walk right up to you. She walks right up to my dog, or she lets me pet her. Her ear's tipped now. So I'm so glad she got neutered because she won't have any more babies. But I wish I could get them all trapped and neutered. I'm trying, but it's really hard. So anyway, so those 3 little kittens in that video, the orange one that was eating, that's Blossom, short for Orange Blossom. And I know you shouldn't name them. You shouldn't feed them. You shouldn't name them. I can't help it. It's just that it's me. I'm that person. I'm that lady, right? I'm either going to be the crazy cat lady or the crazy dog lady. You know, they're living in a trailer with all these animals all over, right? I promise to take good care of them, though. It is one thing, is I take very good care of my animals. They never want for anything. But anyway. And then the other 2, one is all black. I've been calling him Spooky because he reminds me of the old Spooky. And the other one is Mr. Socks, who is the one who was looking at me through the door. I had to shoot that through my back door, which my windows were kind of dirty, because if I open the door, they run away. But I was just standing there and I'm watching them, and they're playing and they're like beating each other up on the porch. And so I went and got my camera and just started filming them. And you notice Mr. Socks is the one that sits down and he looks very intently at me. And you can see the sock on the one foot, but he has a little bit of white here and then a little bit of white on each foot. So it looks like he's wearing socks and, I don't know, a tie, a tuxedo shirt. I don't know. But the rest of him is all black. He's really beautiful. And he's very brave. He was one of the first ones to come eat at the porch with Mom. Everybody else would hang out in the woods and like watch the porch, but they wouldn't come up on the porch with the other, big cats. So anyway, that was Mr. Socks. That was his video. And it probably, by now, it probably has like 200, views or something. It's funny to me that like I spend all this time and energy like doing patterns and finding patterns, and then people just want to see videos of me that I took of a feral cat, Oh, wow, that's a great idea. This is Brandy. There is a group, and I did reach out to the woman, and that is possibly who grabbed Lady G, Miss Gray, because I told her exactly where I lived. I really wanted her to come to my apartment and look at them so that I could, show her where they like to hang out. I thought maybe but she kind of flaked on me. So I honestly have on more than one occasion said I should start my own nonprofit just for the town of Hamilton because we have that much of a feral cat problem. And I want them to have better lives. We don't have to exterminate them. We don't even have to find them homes. How about we just neuter them? Make sure that they're not sick. And people can feed them on their porch and whatever, which is what people do now. But they just don't have a great life. They get hit by cars. They die of like weird diseases. They get attacked by other animals. I just kind of want them to have a better life. And I've worked for multiple nonprofits over the years, so I understand the structure of nonprofits and how you set them up with the government and how you deal with. I worked for one nonprofit and I did nothing but catalog donations. I spent all day doing data processing, where I put in what what donations got and whether this person would be sent a gift and blah blah blah. And I love I love cats. I love them all. So whatever. All right, but we're here to talk about patterns. Let's talk about patterns. So you saw a little foreshadowing of these patterns last week. Oh, that's really nice, Brandy. Oh, you're in Woodbury? Oh, wow. You're really close to me. I'm right in Hamilton. All right, but let's talk about patterns. Let's get into the boys patterns. So I started this week by finishing off the boys patterns, and then the rest of everything else in here is 90s because that's as far as we got. Remember, we had one pattern, the Jessica McClintock for Gunny Sack pattern that was 1990. So these are boys patterns, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then the rest are 90s patterns. So I think you guys might have seen this one. It is kind of fabulous. This, by the way, this is a zippered jacket, which is kind of awesome, actually. There's another pattern in here. I'm not kidding you. It kind of looks like a members only jacket. So I know you guys saw this one. There's 3 of these. She must have really liked this pattern. It is kind of a Western vibe. I was going to put it under the Western wear tab, but I decided not to because it's just, I don't know, maybe I should. You know what it is? This isn't very Western looking, but this is. And if you look, both the jeans and the shirt have that yoking detail, which is very Western. So I might have to do that. And then I stumbled across this pattern that was in with the girls' patterns because, see, it's girls, but technically it's unisex, even though this one says it's sized for a girl, size 14. But, you know, what are you going to do? I mean, there's nothing about this that is specifically female. So whatever. So I put that one up. This is the one that has the kind of members only jacket. Oh, it's coming apart in the back. I mean, that's a jacket, right? It doesn't have the, members only had that little tab here and you could like snap it across the neck. I know for some of you, I'm going way too far back, but yes, members only was a thing. Wait, are you Brandy that used to work with me, Brandy? At Sam's Club in Deptford? Is it that Brandy? Are you the Brandy? Because this person, Brandy, who by the way is in the chat, maybe somebody I actually physically know in IRL. Oh, it is. Hi, Brandy. Brandy recently got married. How are you doing? How's your wedding? I know. No, it wasn't recently, was it? It was like a year. God, time moves so fast. Brandy got married to her girlfriend about a year ago. So everybody say congratulations, Brandy. I think I said it on Facebook, but I don't know if I got to say it in real life. This one, I know you guys definitely saw because this is the Western pattern I showed you guys because it was just, yeah, it was so Western. Especially look at this one view here. You can do a completely contrasting yoke on that pattern. This one I did put under the Western patterns. Oh, good. I'm glad everybody's good. All right, so this is what I'd like to call the Miami Vice pattern because this kid so looks like Don Johnson. He's like Johnny Sportcoat and the casuals over here. It's such a weird pattern because I just can't imagine a little boy dressing like this anymore. And this, I know this is supposed to be a boy, but does not look like a little girl. This kind of looks like a little girl, but whatever. And then we have, oh yeah, and then we get into 90s, right? Look, the hat, the baseball cap turned around. This is funny because I was looking for this other pattern I have that reminds me of this. It happens to be a McCall's, but it's like the hip hop clothing pattern. I was like, oh, it's another hip hop clothing pattern, right? You know, I can hear the song from In Living Color as that's, you know, as I'm looking at that pattern. And then there's this for your son who is a dandy man about town because they're pull-on pants, but they have suspenders. And the pattern includes this tie, which again, I'm not really sure why little boys need to be wearing a tie. You know, they're selling a car later today? I don't know. After they get out of pre-K, they're going to go sell a car. All right, so I have 2 of these. So this one, I think it's this one. Yes, this one. I have another one very similar to this. It has, and I can show it to you really quick because it's pretty easy to get it out. These are blue transfers that are used for smocking. So you lay this over your pattern. You just take an iron to it, and it will lay it out on your fabric so that you can smock it later. Not, you know, I didn't look at the directions. I'm not sure if they recommend that you do it before or after you assemble the whole garment, but there it is. And I don't know who Oliver Gooden is, but I have another smocking pattern by him. So I actually put these 2 together because they seem to be similar. And then there was this, which does not have the smocking, but very cute, very frilly, kind of 90s thing. Yes, there was a movie called Newsboys. You're right. Those clothes, the only thing they're missing, that pattern, the only thing this pattern's missing is the, remember Newsboys? It was called Newsies. It's called Newsies. That's it. It was a Disney movie called Newsies. By the way, it had Christian Bale in it, a very young Christian Bale. But it was called Newsies, and they all had the newsboy cap. So that's what's missing from that pattern. All right. So because Barbie, the movie, is coming out, I had to find one of these. So this is interesting. I could not figure out where I really wanted to place this pattern as far as categories because it's a weird one. So you get the pattern for the girls' PJs, nightgowns. You also get the pattern for this teddy bear. Plus, can you see Barbie's wardrobe? You have the matching Barbie wardrobe that's the same options as the little girl's nightgown. So it's a weird pattern because I can't decide who wants to buy this. Like, I sell a very marginal amount of doll clothes patterns. The ones I do sell are always vintage. They're always the kind of really cool ones from back in the day and things like that. And yeah, I know. It's funny, right? Christian Bale grew up after being a newsie and became American Psycho. So you don't like that movie? I love American Psycho. You have to watch it and remember that there's an entire theory that he didn't do any of the murders, that it was all in his head, that he was imagining murdering those people, that he didn't actually murder them, because it is a very bloody movie. But so anyway, back to Barbie. Speaking of movies, back to Barbie. So I wasn't really sure where to put that pattern because to me, that's like, it's definitely a pattern. Your wife loves that movie. I happen to love that movie too, but I love Christian Bale. I think he's an incredible actor because when you look at the range of movies he's done, and I mean, he played Batman, and a psycho killer, right? So anyway, with this pattern, I couldn't decide who's going to buy this. Is it going to be somebody that's going to make the doll clothes and the kids' clothes? Is it someone who's only interested in the patterns for the dolls and the teddy bear? So I put it under kids because in my view, it's primarily a little girl's pattern. So, and here we go. I don't remember Camp Simplicity. I don't know if you guys did. I had two of these patterns, two different ones. The second one had been cut up a fair amount. And the lady that works in the post office, Maritza, hi Maritza, I've told her about my channel, but I don't think she watches. She'd asked me if I ever had patterns that I didn't want, if I would give them to her. I said, absolutely. So I gave her a bunch of patterns. One of them was one of these patterns. It was really similar too. It was I think just this, but this is super cute. If you look at it closely, it's a unisex pattern, but it has the pieces to make the little girl's bikini and a duffel bag, which is kind of cool. And here's the line drawings on the back. I don't remember Camp Simplicity, but I guess they existed. Oh, and then there's these two patterns. All right, so this is another one. They have a warning on the back of this that says that this should not be used as sleepwear. So is it a costume or is it, they're calling it a bunting. To me, it's a bunting. It's a baby bunting. It's it's designed for fleece, but look at the Christmas tree. But someday this child, the child that you put in the Christmas tree bunting and take to grandmom and grandpops, and then they take a picture of him or her in that bunting, is going to hate you so hard when they are 13, 14, 15, 16 in high school, and you pull out that picture of them dressed as a Christmas tree in a Christmas tree bunting. Yeah, they're not going to be happy with you at all. Then there was this. It is it's not unisex. It's a layette pattern. And then they have separate designs for boys and girls. You can see it a little bit better on the line drawings. Like the girls' basket's frilly, but the boys' basket's not. The girls' basket comes with a bib that's shaped like a heart. The boys' is just a standard bib. There's bloomers. There's a bonnet for the girls, a hat for the boys. I mean, it's a whole weird gender thing, but at the same time, it's a great pattern. Because if you have grandchildren and you want to make everybody something, here's your pattern. Yeah. But I honestly don't think people make layouts anymore. Layouts are involved, you know, all those tiny little pieces. We've talked about this. All right. So more 90s, set the Wayback Machine. Lots and lots of 90s stuff. This rip. Oh, fortunately, they rip because they're getting old. This was so super cute. And it's like, you can see it's like the squirt. And then there's the line drawings for it. Okay, we had not one, not two, but 3 of these. Yes, it's Daisy Kingdom. So let's look at them. Yeah, the Daisy Kingdom. You know, the thing is, when I look at these, the first thing I think of is John Benet Ramsey, which is a horrible thing to think about. But this, if you look at the old pictures of her, this was the kind of crap that the mom was dressing her up in to do the pageants, you know. And then there's the whole toddlers and tiara. Don't even get me started on that. Yeah, but you guys might remember a couple months ago, I found an adult woman's pattern in this same kind of genre. And it was like, yeah, again, right? Toddlers and tiaras. And whatever, you know what? They're great patterns if your daughter is going to be the flower girl. So there you go. Then we have this. This to me just screamed 90s. Look at that. In fact, honestly, I think there's a pattern out there by Simplicity that is the adult women's version of this, like the leggings and the over kind of top / dress thingy, made for stretch knits, in case you're curious. I thought this was really cute, but my first thought was this little girl looks like she's going to go see Guns N' Roses. And this is difficult. I can't decide if this needs to go into Western or not. She's got the boots on. It's got a very Western vibe, so it might have to go into the Western wear category. And then this oh so precious dress for little girls. Again, we were talking about these last week. This is one of those dresses that you wanted your mom to buy you or make you because you wanted to twirl. Why don't you just twirl around in that dress? It's a very twirly dress. And then this thing, which is so cute. This I very, very much remember from the 90s. I remember my friends' kids having outfits like this. And then I found a couple of one-off indie patterns. These were in with the craft patterns. And I had grabbed them when I was kind of sorting through the craft patterns just to put them up with the kids' patterns. So this is a little girl's pinafore style dress. Comes with 2 styles of blouses. And included is the applique for this tulip. So, you know what? Here, let me take the cover of this out so you guys can really see it. It doesn't really have line drawings, but it's very cute, right? You know, this one does kind of have line drawings. There we go. The other ones don't. Because they're indie patterns, they don't follow the same format as these guys. Like this one has no line drawings, but I will show you the super cute. It's an actual photo of her children. And it's a play suit. Well, it's like a jumper, but I guess you're supposed to wear it when you go swimming. What does she call it? A zip around sunsuit, jumper and hat. So it comes with the hat. That's the best we can do on line drawings. So, but it is cute. And I can imagine if, like if your kid really has issues with the sun, it'd be a good thing to have. Kind of like like giving your kid a rash guard. And then there's KP Kids, which I have a couple of KP Kids patterns already on there. In fact, I may actually have this one. I haven't been able to get all these patterns up online yet. So most of them are online. Like the boys' patterns are online. Here we go. See, it's not a line drawing. It's just this little thing they do on the back. Most of the boys' patterns are online. A couple of the other unisex and girls' patterns are also online. But these, like this, pretty much this whole box here, I was unable to get up online in time. So next week, I'll be finishing up kids. I have all the McCalls out there. They're getting some sun. I'm airing them out, make them, you know, smell a little less basementy. And then after that, I was originally going to do craft patterns, but there's been a change of plans because right now my table over here, which you can't see, is covered with, that's right, See and Sew. I had to reclaim my spare bathroom because the other day I'm walking past and I smell this weird odor. I'm like, oh my God, what is that odor? I'm thinking there was a mouse in the patterns. It died. Turns out it was my actual toilet. And there was nothing in the toilet, but the water had gone down so low that the toilet smelled funky. And the water in the back was like gone. I'm like, what happened here? Like, because I haven't been using that bathroom. I haven't been using that toilet. So I cleaned the toilet, flushed the toilet. And as the toilet is refilling, the little motor in the back is making a noise like it was like screaming. So I'm like, great, well, that's not good. But I filled it all up. And as soon as I did that, everything, whatever the smell was, it kind of went away. But it made me realize that I need to deal with these other patterns because they're just in boxes. There are 6 boxes, and I mean big boxes, not these little boxes. I mean, like one of them is from my microwave that I had laying around. And I need to deal with them. So I'm going to start dealing with them. But before I can deal with them, I need to deal with See and Sew, and I need to deal with Stitch and Save. So Stitch and Save is hanging out on the table in the bathroom right now. Got the fan going, airing that out. These are the See and Sews. They're on the table in my sewing room. They're getting some sun. They'll be going out into boxes to air out in the next couple weeks. So we're going to jump ahead and start doing those. Also, I think after looking at the craft patterns, there's definitely some categories. There's a lot of cool vintage stuff that's just kind of all over the place, like dolls and stuffed animals and stuff. There's a ton of these 1990s. I don't know what this was in the 90s, but they're like ducks or geese. Some of them have a duck or a goose in the pattern, or either or, right? And they're like, you stuff them and put them in your kitchen. Some of them you stuff them and you put a plant in them, door stops, all kinds of stuff. We also have my favorite, animals dressed as small children, which what do they call that? Anamorphic, I think is the anamorphic animals. So they're animals, but they're wearing small children's clothing. They have sun hats, like the whole, like there's got to be 100 of them. Then I don't even know why, but there are so many patterns for Barbie, specifically Barbie, not just doll clothes, but Barbie. Like I found a Brooke Shields Barbie pattern. I found a Barbie doll clothing pattern. I found Simplicity. I found Vogue, all of them. And I'm like, oh. So I'm thinking maybe I'll just go through them and I'll sort them once I get done with the See and Sews and the Stitch and Saves, which are all just pretty much adult women and some men's clothes. So, and I'll just do them in categories. I'll do like all the Barbie clothes, doll clothes 1 week. I'll do all the animals dressed as children 1 week. I'll do all the geese and duck and I don't even know what else, swan patterns that I found. There's also tons of apron patterns. There was actually an apron pattern that's out of print. It's from 2000. It's really cool. It's a vintage reissue of like 1940s and 50s style aprons. And I thought that was pretty cute. And then there's a bunch of other like kind of miscellaneous stuff. I saw a fleece hat pattern for women. It was just kind of like one of those rolled hats, which were actually popular pretty recently because when I had cancer, I had a rolled hat like that was made of like a fleece kind of thing. And, so I have changed up the schedule. So next week, we're going to finish children's patterns. I'm going to finish up with the McCall's children's patterns. There are not a lot. So I should be able to get through all of them this week. There's not a lot of them. It wasn't like Simplicity where there was just mind-boggling how much Simplicity. Now I know why the 2 filing cabinets that I got from her were Simplicity filing cabinets, because Simplicity must have called her and just given them to her because she spent so much money on Simplicity patterns. It's crazy. And these are just the ones that are uncut. You should see how many cut Simplicity patterns she has. So that's another reason I'd like to try and start to get through them. But until next week, I hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for coming by. Brandy, it's lovely to see you. I hope you're doing well. And yeah, until then, like, subscribe, comment. I was reading some of the comments last week. People were talking about like their mom had made them some of those outfits, and I was like, yeah, but did you have clogs? Because that's the question with all the 70s clothes. All I could think is, but did you have clogs? Because I wanted clogs when I was like 11. I really wanted clogs, and I think my sister bought them for me because my mom was like, I'm not buying you clogs. They're ugly. I think she called clogs ugly and uncomfortable, and she said I wouldn't wear them. So my sister bought me clogs, and I had a pair of clogs. I remember them. They were brown, and they had like a buckle thing that went across the front of them, and then like the piece that connected the middle was like sewn, but you could see like the suede, the way it was sewn. I know. I was, yeah, I was very styling back then. But anyway, until next week. I hope you have a great week. I hope it's not too hot where you are. And I'll see you next week. And thank you for coming by, and stay well. See ya.